Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another build video in The Sims 4. So today I'm actually going to be building in the world of San Myshuno, which is the world that came with the city living expansion pack. So this is a city vibe. We are building a penthouse today as well. And this is the second penthouse that I've built. The first one was actually in the Love Struck world. I was really happy with the way that one turned out. This one, I'm not so sure about, but you guys will see how it comes together. I'll kind of explain why I feel that way, but before I do that, I'm going to let you guys know that we're building today for one of my Sims, so we are on a budget. I think the budget was around 80,000 simoleons, so it's decent. I feel like that sounds like a lot of money. I don't think it actually is when you go to building. You can blow through 80,000 simoleons pretty quickly in The Sims. But I'm building this for my Sim Caster. If you guys watch my Zodiac Challenge Let's Play, he recently needed to move out of his old apartment because his brother got married and the woman he married had a child, and then Caster has a child, and we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was getting a little bit squished, a little bit too small. So it was time for somebody to move out, and I decided to move out Caster and just build a new apartment because the old apartment had the needs TLC trait, which is just really irritating, and I feel like we did our time in that. It's time to move on. I don't want to do that anymore. It's made all of my Sims squeamish. I mean, I allowed it to because I chose yes on that option, but I always do kind of choose yes when we get those prompts because it just makes everything a little bit more interesting. I feel like I would never willingly choose for my Sims to be squeamish because it's just really annoying, especially when you're living in a roach-infested apartment. But that is why we are building for Caster instead of staying in the old apartment because honestly, I didn't feel like doing this build. I wasn't super excited about it. I ran into a bunch of problems. I originally started out trying to build on the other penthouse lot in San Myshuno, which is over in the fashion district. And it's a bigger lot than this. It's like a 40 by 30 lot. And we had about 60,000 simoleons when we started in there. And I could not make anything work. I've tried 2 different inspiration pictures before I landed on this one. And I'm not actually going to show you guys the inspiration picture for this build because it ended up looking absolutely nothing like it. And I think that's the thing that makes me kind of unhappy about the way this build turned out is that it doesn't look like a penthouse to me. It looks more like a residential house that I've placed on top of an apartment building. You guys can let me know what you think, but I just feel like most of the penthouses I see on Pinterest and on other people's channels, other people's builds, they look very modern. They have a very modern roofing, and I have some modern roofing, but then I go into this kind of more suburban roofing because I was trying to do this particular thing where you guys see the growing together windows. I had an ideal that I wanted to do for that because it was in the inspiration picture, and originally I thought it was going to work out perfectly. I was going to use the Myshuno windows. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I was going to use those really beautiful curved ones. Well, they ended up being way too big, and also I was so excited to get that pack because of those windows. I remember seeing those windows everywhere for a while, and I thought they were so beautiful, the way that people build with them. I have not managed to use those windows one time so far. I've tried several times and I can't make it work, and this build was no different. I could not make it work, but originally that was going to be my plan. So that's kind of why that area in the front with the growing together windows looks a bit weird, because I ended up having to use this straight triangle window instead of curved like I wanted to, but I still tried to curve the roof to give it that appearance, and it just wasn't working. But in the very end of this speed build, I go back and I try to fix the roofing up a little bit to make it look a little better. And I think it does look better. So you guys will see what the build looks like totally done in the end. Usually, once I move on to the interior, I'm done with the exterior. But this time I did go back and tweak the roofing on the exterior, so it looks a little bit different in the end. I was really disappointed with that, though. I wanted to use those Myshuno windows, and I did use some of them. That's another thing I want to complain about, just really quickly, is that the little windows that came with that pack or kit, whatever, what is it, a stuff pack? I can't remember. But the little windows, they don't line up with those curved windows. And I feel like they should. I feel like they should match in size so that I can kind of do a continuous window, like on multiple stories, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but I don't like that. I don't like that the curved windows are so much bigger than these and that they don't line up properly. It made me really unhappy. So maybe one day I'll figure out how to incorporate those windows in a build, but so far it's not working for me. But I had to scoot the build up, and I had to do this addition on the back, which was partially just because I didn't really have a plan when I went into building this, and I knew the back was going to be very flat because I had it built on the very edge of the apartment building. So I knew there wasn't going to be a bump out back there, but once I got done with the front part, I actually went in off camera and I sorted out the floor plan so that everything would fit. I like to get my stairs situated. I like to get my doors situated. And sometimes even I do the wallpaper and flooring. Yeah, I've been doing that off camera as well, just because I feel like I'm so indecisive and I hate for you guys to have to watch that. So I did the floor plan and I realized we basically have enough room for 2 bedrooms and everything else we need, like the kitchen and the living room and that kind of stuff. Well, I was going to need a 3rd bedroom because part of my Sims generational challenge is that he needs to have a set of twins. Currently, he's living with his toddler and the mother of his toddler. I was going to call her his baby mama, but I feel bad sometimes when I say that. Like, I feel like it's mean, but it's true. That is what she is. They've never been married. They're not actually together right now, but she's currently living in the house to help out with the baby because the baby's young. She's a toddler. And we do have to have this set of twins. So I needed a room for Erilyn, which is the mother of the baby. I needed a room for her temporarily. And then I also knew in the future we're going to need a room for twins when they come along. So I had to add that onto the back of the build. And then I realized I didn't include a spot for an elevator. So I had to go back and add in the little elevator situation as well. I don't like the landscaping of this build. Also, I feel like I got a bit lazy with that. It looks a bit strange, which may just be because it's on the roof in the middle of the city. Maybe that's why it's bugging me. I feel like it's the colors though. And I wanted free. I needed free actually. So I used a bunch of the debug plants. I say a bunch of them. I used like 3, I think 4, because I used 2 different kinds of lavender. And that's why I say I got a bit lazy, because I just didn't want to pick out plants. I just didn't feel like it. And I guess I was thinking that the lavender kind of would go along with the color for the next generation, but I don't know if I like the way it looks, honestly. I may end up changing that out. This build isn't actually done. When you guys get to the end of it, technically speaking, it's done. Like, my Sim's gonna move in and we're gonna live here. But it's not done for the gallery because we were building on such a small budget. I wasn't able to get as much decoration as I wanted in here, and also the exterior. That's pretty much done. There's not a lot of decoration that I add to the exterior. At the end, I go back and I add a bar because I felt like we had enough money, and that's a big part of Castor's personality, is hosting parties and stuff like that. So I went on and spent the money on that, but I want to add in a dining area. I want to add in even a small pool eventually, some grills and stuff like that. Just one grill, actually. We don't need multiple grills. I don't know why I said that, but I definitely have a lot of stuff I need to add to the exterior, so that's not done. And to be honest, there's a few places in the interior that I feel like need a little bit more decoration as well. So at the end of this build, I'm not going to have it on the gallery until it's time to finish it up. We need to make a little bit more money and actually get everything sorted out before I put it to the gallery. But my Sim's current color is yellow. Castor's my Gemini Sim, if you guys aren't familiar with the challenge. So Gemini is an air sign. His color is yellow. As you guys can see, we've got a very yellow theme in here. I don't love it. I don't love building with yellow. If you guys have been around my channel, you've probably heard me say that 100 times. But it's just not my favorite color to build with. But I think that's why I was so stuck on a penthouse, because he is an air sign. I felt like, let's get as far up in the air as we can to represent him. We have at least 2 more air signs coming down the line later on. We've already done Aquarius, so I don't know what their challenges look like, what their generations look like, or where they're going to live or anything like that. But I decided to just seize the moment and move Castor into a penthouse and let him live in the clouds. But it's very expensive, and honestly, he does not make such good money. He is non-committal, so he constantly changes jobs. So we have basically no money this generation. It's absolutely killing me. And so the mother of his child, Erilyn, she's going to have to get a job. Originally, she wasn't working. She's not really a great mother, to be honest. She's not great at keeping track of the kid. So I'm going to need her to start working. And she's a chef. She's going to be a chef. She has the lifelong dream of being a master chef. That's kind of her whole personality. So That's what I'm going to do for her. I'm going to have her join the culinary career. But as you guys can see, I tried to do a pretty nice kitchen because that's a passion of hers. And also, we have a lot of parties. Like, we might need to hire a caterer at some point when we can afford one, because right now we cannot. I think I leave off with like 1,200 simoleons, which is not a lot when bills come due. Like, this lot is going to have some pretty hefty bills, so I'm dreading that. I'm not looking forward to it at all. But back to the elevator. Okay, so you guys can see where I had to add it in now. I added it in next to the bathroom that's on the first floor, so this is kind of like the guest bathroom. Down here we have the kitchen, living room, guest bathroom, guest room, and the elevator. But the elevator, it's kind of weird because I didn't plan this out. I had to come back and add in a whole area for the elevator. I had no plans of adding in an elevator, which is like so necessary for a penthouse apartment. But it opens up into the living area, and I think that's going to bug me. I do, because if your Sims are getting visitors, like if someone's visiting your Sims, they're going to ride up the elevator. And what I'm imagining is going to happen is that they're going to come into our house, and they're not going to have to knock on a door or anything like that. Like, we're not going to be able to choose whether they come inside the house or not because they're already in it. So I don't think I thought that through well. But other than adding the elevator into a hallway, like kind of enclosing that area and putting a front door there, I don't really know what else I would do about that, because I don't want the elevator to be outside, because I don't want my Sims to have to like come in through bad weather. I don't want them to have to run into the apartment from the outside. So I'd rather the elevator be in the main building. But I'm not sure that I'm going to be happy with that, because I imagine at the very least they're going to walk to the front door. Like, they're going to walk through the apartment to the front door, probably on the wrong side of it, and then they're just going to stand there until my Sims talk to them. Or they're going to just start using our stuff, sit down, watch the TV, try to get on the computer. There's actually only one computer right now in this build, and I'm just going to lock it for my Sims, so that probably shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to love the elevator situation, honestly. I am thinking about, down the line, adding in an extra building outside. And I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet, because I don't want to do any spoilers for the gameplay, because we really haven't gotten to the point that we're doing what I would want that extra building for, if that makes sense. But yeah, I may add in an extra spot outside. We definitely have the room for it. Oh, also, I got Castor a new bed. Okay, we were using the outdoor retreat one, which I never really felt like it fit him anyway, but that was his teenage bed. That's the one we picked out when he moved into the new apartment, and I got him a new one, okay, because he is a non-committal king, and he has so many relationships or situationships in his case, and I got him one of the Love Struck beds with the like tiger stripes, and I don't know if there's a more perfect bed for Castor, honestly. I know it's cheesy. It's very cheesy, but I think it looks so good in here, and I think it works out perfectly for him. Mostly his room is pretty much the same as the old apartment. It's just a different layout, so it's just spread out differently. I did get him some of the flip-flop string lights to put over his TV, because he's a partier, and I just felt like it fit him. This bathroom is massive, okay, so this is his ensuite. And I knew that I wanted to put one of the corner bathtubs. They're kind of expensive. I think they're 3,000 simoleons, so it's not the most expensive bathtub, but I knew I wanted him to have like a jacuzzi type bathtub. And at this point, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to afford it. So the first time that I do this bathroom, I put in a little shower really quickly, and then I move on, because I didn't want to spend too much money. But then I realized at some point that we had a dragon fruit and an orchid. We had that in our family inventory from where we have been growing them. And thankfully, they were both worth like 1,000 simoleons each. So they basically paid for the bathtub. But up here, this is like an upstairs landing area. There's not really a lot of point to this spot. I put some couches in here and some chairs just to make a little seating area. But I might change this later to have a gaming table of some kind, like a foosball table or something like that. I think that might be fun. But I was just getting really nervous about the budget at this point. It was stressing me out because I still had to build the whole toddler room for our baby. So there's still a Sim who does not have what she needs. All she has is a bed and a toddler potty and some toys. I think that's all she brought along with her, and some pictures and stuff like that. But that's not helpful because her room's quite big. Also, her room is right underneath the little skylight area outside that you could see on the exterior. It's actually on the 3rd floor. And I decided it would be kind of fun if she had access to that space and it could be like a little attic. So I put a ladder in there. She's a toddler right now, so she can't actually climb up it. She can't get to it. But eventually when she's a kid, she'll be able to go up there. And I put a dollhouse in there. Like it kind of got left behind or forgotten by someone else. So she'll have a little dollhouse as she gets older. And then I put some boxes. And what else did I put up there? I'm trying to remember. I did some little drawings and stuff, like art decals on the wall, but I just wanted it to look like a very fun place for her to get away from everything and kind of hide away, and it's her own little private sanctuary. And it's a space that nobody else really goes up here. Nobody thinks about it. I also put a woodworking table in here, kind of forgotten as well. It's also a bit of a hint for the next generation, but you know, we won't go into that. No spoilers, but I did put that in there just as a little bit of a teaser for what's coming up in the 6th generation. Oh, and then the box of decorations as well for like holidays and stuff. I'm assuming you can decorate a penthouse. I know you can't with apartment buildings, but I'm hoping that we can actually decorate this now that we're living in the penthouse. But yeah, that's just a little attic, a little hideaway kind of space for our baby. I wasn't able to furnish her bathroom. That's another thing. Okay, that's another reason this build is just not even finished. I forgot about that. I didn't even furnish anything in her bathroom. But technically she doesn't need it right now because she's a toddler, and 2 bathrooms should be plenty for the family and for parties and stuff like that. So when we get the money, I'll definitely be updating her bathroom, but right now that stays completely empty. I went with a bit of a dark blue theme for her room. I think that the color of the 6th generation is actually more of a grayish color, but I just feel like that's so boring and I don't like it. I didn't want to build a gray bedroom. I felt like it would be very sad. I think the only thing that it would be more sad than is a sad beige room, which I've built before for toddlers, so I really shouldn't be talking because I have done that before. I think sometimes it does look nice, especially in The Sims, but I didn't want to build a sad gray room for our baby, so I went with this deep oceany kind of dark blue, or it's actually more of like a stormy blue, but I thought it was really pretty. And I'm super excited for her to grow up and to get into her life and get a little bit closer to her generation. But I am really enjoying the Gemini generation as well right now. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last place that we live as the Gemini sim. I don't think we're going to be moving again. I don't want to. I mean, we can barely afford this place. We can't even technically afford to furnish it completely. So this is probably where we're going to finish up the 5th generation right here. And I'm really excited, but I didn't finish up any of the balconies either. I think that I will have some more landscaping as I'm able to add it. But at this point, I just wasn't sure where everything would go. So I just left everything as it is. But it will be a fun exterior when we get the money. Like, I want to put a hot tub on Castor's balcony. I knew that when I added in that balcony. I want a hot tub out there. And then we have a bar and we'll have a whole party area. But that's pretty much it for this build. I just have to fix up the roofing really quickly before we're done. Hopefully you guys think it looks better after I modernize the roof a little bit. But let me know what you think about this build. Like I said, it's not on the gallery yet. I do have to finish it, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching it come together. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon with the next part of the Zodiac Challenge, but that is all for today. So bye guys.